Let's go back. Yes, I'm wearing my pajamas. They're comfortable. I'm working at home. What do you care? I'm not in a Zoom meeting with you. There. Okay, BP bridge trap system. Inside this, I'm going to make a new blueprint. And it's going to be an actor. BP bridge system trap. Okay, so BP bridge system trap, double click it. That's a lovely big question, by the way, thank you. It's not often people actually write questions that little thing. A game space that closes around the avatar. To be honest, this would work the same way if you wanted it to. The same kind of things that I'm doing here, you can make work for just about anything. Now, the first thing I always do is I'm going to design the piece that I need to use inside of my editor here. Now, fortunately for me, I've already got a few pieces I can use. So if I go to, let's have a look, see what I've got in my other windows. Floors, here we are. Oh, look at this. I quite like this because it's kind of industrial looking. So I reckon I can attach this to a breeze block type thing. So I'm making sure angle snaps on. There we go. Like that. And then I need something pretty sturdy and solid behind it. So this, what does it do? What's that for? Kind of like that, but it's not great. Okay, so I'm going to find some blocks. So again, a lot of what I do is kind of corralling together the assets that I've got, just making it look good. So mega scans. I have some good assets here, my 3D assets. Just need to find one that's going to be suitable for this. Cement bollard. Cement bollards are good. Concrete pillar. I know, I've got some buildings, modular buildings. The modular building, here it is. And let's see what I've got. First floor, it's a pillar. Second floor is some stuff. I'm just looking for a suitable brick. I'm just going through all of my assets until one presents itself to you. You'll know when it does. Then you'll be dragging it into this screen here. Those are wooden. Okay, none of those very good. Oh yeah. Window. I want to find a good block. Once we get this started, we'll be underway. I promise you. This. Bricks. I like bricks, I must admit. Unfortunately, bricks wouldn't run this way. They'd have to run lengthways because of the support issues with the bricks. You've got to be really boring and think logically about how your items are going to be made. Sometimes finding the right asset can literally take forever, but it's totally worth taking your time until you find something. What's this? It's a limestone slab. What do you look like? Good, but it doesn't have a flat enough top. Okay, I'm going to start filtering now by blocks instead. So static mesh, and I'm just filtering by block. See what I can find. That's kind of nice, but it's a little bit too big and also horrible. Although horrible can work at smaller. All I need to do really is scale this down to roughly the size of this, and then it can contain the machinery that I need. Okay, so what I'm going to do is change this to, let's say, 0.25. Okay, now I can adjust it. I'd say 0.55 is about right. Okay, let's have a look at that. Placed against the side of this. The thing is, this is quite a low detail piece, you see, so what I need there is that. Now, inside this is where we're going to have the part that comes out, which should probably also have a light. So, if we get a light, there should be quite a few different options for me here. What I'm looking for is kind of an old-fashioned lamp. There'll be plenty of those if you choose from, I would imagine. There, lamp. There we go. Okay, so one there. I'm going to move it to this end. And I'll make a copy of it, move it to that end. Okay, so that looks cool. Hey, how's it going? Val's Curious. What a fucking cool name that is, pardon my French, but it really is. That's a nice name. Okay, so now we've got this block here, and we've got space for the bridge part to come out of it. And the good thing is this acts as kind of a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for here? It'll basically act like, need to think of the word here. Well, act like an illusion box, you know, like when a magician has a suitcase and it turns out it can open a lot more stuff because it's on top of the table. So, let's see what I've got here. I want to look for some interesting flaws. So I'm looking through my assets that I've already got. I just have to pick something that looks appropriate. Maybe a little bit steampunk as well. I haven't decided yet, but definitely something interesting. If I can't find anything in here, which I can't, that's okay. Then what I'll do is I'll look in one of my folders for assets. So here's one of my folders here. Pardon me. And I'm looking for the doors collection because there's some really interesting stuff in the doors collection. Okay, because the shapes that the author made these doors out of is actually pretty darn good. See that SM door 25? Love that. So look at that. And I'll also have a look at Beastie Beastie Boo. I like this SM door frame, so I'm gonna have a look at that. And I promise you, this all makes sense, okay, once I start putting things together. This used to be a thing, you know, you'd see it on Bob Ross, but you'd also see it on like British TV stations and stuff like that with Tony Hart. You know, it's like they use a load of weird trash that you don't think is going to work, and then they put it together, and it's like, oh, it's the Mona Lisa. And yeah, that's kind of what I like about game dev. I'm going to have this handle. I love that handle. I just want to make use of as many of these things as I can. And this. Okay, so let's get rid of this now. And I've got lots and lots and lots of different assets in here that I can use. Okay, some are going to be more useful than others. So this door frame I'll put over here. Okay, and I'm just basically spreading out my assets to have a good look at them, and then I'll know for sure which ones are useful and which ones are not going to be useful. I can see already, for example, some that I think I'm going to be using. Okay. So, put some names into this first. So, terrace block is now going to be support block. Okay, but its lamps off it. Then, partition base here is going to be basically the bridge mount or bridge slot. Also not going to move, right? So everything I build will then come out of this. Okay, next. I need to build the bit what comes out. So let's move some stuff. Firstly, control window, or wheel rather. And let's just put that. Yeah. like so. Now, the thing about putting something like that there is there's a danger that the player is going to see it and go, oh, why can't I move this? Also, it'll need a mounter, so I'll get rid of it for a minute. I might add it in soon. What I'm interested in is this. This is a nice shape. Now, it's got that coloured piece on it. That's okay because I can hide that. So let's turn it over 90 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is move it to its in a suitable position. Okay, that's about right. Now, I need to scale this. Scale that into there. As you can see, it gives us a pretty good area for standing on. Make it a bit wider, and I'm doing all of this by eye because I'm very much a visual game developer, and I believe that working by eye, if you're not doing engineering, is a much easier way of doing things. Doing it the other way. Right, let's get this lined up on the bottom. So if you ever watch my 3ds Max tutorials, you kind of know what to expect. Move that to the right part. And then move that to about there. It's just so that we've got enough room to bring out these parts, you think, which will come out to here. So, nice. What I need to do now is I need to take note of where everything is. So, that comes out about that far. So, this is where I need Notepad. There we go, Notepad. Now, what I'm going to do with Notepad is this text a little bit, stick it over my face, it's out of the way. What I'm going to do with Notepad is take a recording of the locations. So at the minute this is, well, its end point is going to be -7, let's just say, or -8 there. So brace -7 extended. I think it's like -300 or something when it's not. -344. Okay, so -344. As you can see, my notes say basically -7, -344 rejected. Okay, I'll put it on 3 screens. So there you go. Just so you can see what I'm doing. Cool, and I'll leave that there. And high again. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is basically load this up and build the thing for it. I was going to use these, but to be honest, I find them a little bit distracting from what I wanted to do, so that's fine. And instead, I can use these, which I used a lot in our lifts, and I think they're tremendously fun. So, a lift, by the way, is an elevator in the UK. Curious, I didn't know about the definition, though, of trapper's romance. Although I suppose in an older language terminology, that kind of makes sense. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we've got 3 panels come out now. Now, these 3 panels, which I believe are going to be SM door and all that, I'm going to call panel 1. Then I'm going to call it panel 2. And then panel 3. And I shouldn't have to do anything for these. Okay, they're just either going to work or, you know. Now, this frame here is going to be extending frame. like that. Okay, and extending frame. Right, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put panel 1, panel 2, and panel 3 actually into the hierarchy. That means that if I move this now, everything moves with it, which is what I wanted to happen. Okay, next. Compile and save. Perfect. Okay, anything else that I need in here? Well, I've got the lamps. They're part of the support block. Got the extending frame, bridge slot. So I'll put this into the bridge slot. Okay, and then all I need to do is move extending frame, and anything that's connected to it will also move. Okay, so that was relatively simple. I don't need to do too much more optimization on that for this to work. Let's get it placed in the scene. If I go to my chaps, there it is there. Okay, let it pair its shaders. Now this is really low detail, okay, but that's okay because I'm going to work on that because I don't want people being able to jump onto this and use this as a bridge instead. So I'm going to cover most of this. However, for the minute, when it's not. So what I need to do is I need to put in some collisions. So I'll add here collision, box collision. This is going to be set. Ooh. So what I mean by that is the actual boundaries of this. I want to have a look at the size I'm doing. I'm going to move it to here. Let me see, and give it a size of 250. No, 200. Better. Okay, I'll give it a length this way. I'll make it 400. Plenty of room to get on and off. Actually, 600, 500, 500. There we go. And I'll give it a height of 200. So basically, when you're within this kind of area here, okay, the bridge is going to notice you and it will do what it's supposed to do. Okay, and this is collision. Compile, save. All right, so why, hello, bird. Yeah, the delay's always back, dude. Try watching it on YouTube or on something like that. You'll probably hear it a lot better. Okay, so got my pajamas on, man. All comfy. Cool. Okay, so let's go to our event graph, and we're going to get rid of all of this junk first. Just get rid of it all. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is overlap, basically on this badly spelled collision. There we go, it's spelled correctly now. So on overlap of this component, so add an overlap component, begin overlap. I'm going to do a cast to my player character. There we are, which will be connected to the third pin here, other actor. So it's going to check that I've overlapped with this. If I have overlapped with it, what's going to happen is, go to our viewport, I'm going to move this to the initial place, which is minus 344. Okay, so let me see, location. Oh, I see, it's doing it relative now. So 132. I see, it's moving on the z-axis. That's absolutely fine. So it's at -8 going to minus bloody load. So it's still the same. It's just on the z-axis. That's all I need to be aware of. Okay, so I'm going to move this to minus 344. Okay, so minus 344. Thank you. Okay, so the idea is when we overlap with this, I want it to slowly move to position 7 or whatever the heck it is. So extending frame, move component 2. Then on the Z, let's say -8. And we're going to do it over time. So let's make it good and slow, maybe 6 seconds or 7 seconds. We're going to ease out and ease in. So move to there. Compile, save. Okay. So let's test it. So right click, play from here. Yeah, overlap events are always fun. Who can see what the problem is here? Kind of worked, but not quite. And this is because the local axis on this, I think, is nested. So if I take the extending frame and stop nesting it onto the bridge slot, okay, so now my extending frame is just my extending frame. And I'll change it instead to, well, let's check its position here. I've got a feeling extending frame's position is now going to be, yeah, minus 343. So that's actually kind of right. As you see as well, it's kind of fucked up everything inside it. But that's okay. We can fix those in a minute. Oh, I see. It's just back to front. I'm an idiot. There we go. There. So that is 343 minus. Okay, so now that it's not locally using the other things, whatever, let's go into the event graph and change this to -8. File and save. And now, I do like overlaps, they're great fun. Okay, I can't help but notice there's something else very, very, very wrong here. But that's okay, because I think I can actually tell what that is as well. It's rotation. So let's have a look at the rotation. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to take a complete snippet from -7, -8, or whatever the flip up set it to. So let's go -8. If not, then I'll just do this by a change relative. To be honest, I don't mind. There's different ways that we can do this. And the rotation on this is, yeah, 90 degrees. So let's see what exciting things it does to itself now. Classic run output. Occurs to me that I've already got this stuck out exactly where it was supposed to be. So let's change this again. I do like a classic wrong axis. So, yeah, strangely enough, that one worked because I set every single axis simultaneously. So let's have a look at what it was supposed to be. You know me, I'm lazy. So -8. I'll just set up every single one of these correctly. And this should be like that. Okay. God, no, I didn't make this in Max. This is just some old assets I've got lying around. The less I have to go back into 3ds Max, the happier I am, to be honest. But, you know, this, my lovely, is a load of assets that I was already using that have been used for other things. And I am basically repurposing them. Yeah, that'll do me. Bloopity doop, bloopity doop, bloopity doop. Okay. So event graph, I'll then have a move back to, and that'll be its current location, which is kind of helpful. So let me see. Collision. I mean, this is just the start of it, you know what I mean. Collision component. Okay, now normally I'd just run this in reverse, but I'm not so sure that's going to work. I'll try it anyway. Cast a BP. Actually, I can just grab a copy of it. Let me like 3 clicks and a couple of types. Yeah, the reason I'm doing it this way is because this way, I don't have to actually bring across any new assets if I don't want to. And that is helping to keep my file size down because the assets that I am using when I do need them, you know what it's like, Unreal Engine, they're massive. So I'm just trying to avoid those pitfalls as much as possible. So that's supposed to be a return. Cross return, but it isn't. So that's curious. Let me just check it's actually doing anything. So I'll just pull out a print on this. Make sure that it is actually printing out. I did connect everything. Yeah, good. I think I gave you access to like all the tutorial, a load of the tutorials I made. It's probably not even all of them, flipping tons. But hello, hello, hello. Okay, so it is working. It just doesn't want to reset its position. So that's fine. We can just do that a different way. So I'll just copy this, and we'll just do a move component to, and this will act as moving it back. So what I'll do is I can put 2 stoppers on this. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've got so much stuff that there's 4 years worth of assets in this game, but you know, so it kind of makes sense not to bring them all out. I have to get rid of so many assets in the first place because I've literally got so many. There we go. Okay, so let's connect. Actually, I'll bring another copy of this node down. I'm really into keeping my nodes tidy in a minute. Some code I actually wrote for Epic Games should be going live this week, hopefully. And that'll be nice. I developed some code specifically for Epic related to AEC. And Bert, rather delightedly, I have created a template that will be used for AEC. That's really quite exciting. Okay. Okay, but what I'll do is I'll make the return trip a lot faster and more dangerous looking. Yeah, it's really cool stuff, but I'm really pleased about that. I've got a second template that's in that I need to do a couple of fixes to, but I'm going to finish doing those hopefully either later today or tomorrow morning because I want to get that other one signed off as well. Yeah, that will do me. Okay, so I have a bridge now. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to verify. But light blueprints. Here's an interesting thing that I've noticed. I don't know about you, but lights tend to be okay as long as I keep the attenuation fairly low. You know, I don't want them kind of shining too much on everything. But it's particles that seem to absolutely wreck my project. So strange, to be honest. Point light. There we go. Yeah, it's so strange because obviously, you know, I've used particle systems a lot. I've always been a bit of a particle person. And it's kind of a little bit annoying that that is what's happened. Okay, so my attenuation radius on this is 500. Don't want it to be huge. There we go. Okay, compile and save. And I don't want to make them all flicker because otherwise it will look far too whatever. So what I'm going to do is in the construction script, I'm going to get our two lights and I'm going to set their intensity to a random value. Set intensity, point light 1. I'm going to set intensity for point light 2. Then I'm going to do a random range. Float. Be 900 and 1500. And I'm going to feed the same value into that. So it's going to be variable. Yeah, it's flipping nightmarish, to be quite honest. I've gone through and removed most of my particle systems now, and it speeds my system up so much better. That and 5.1. Obviously, 5.1's been a game changer. Nanite on the foliage is just bananas, quite frankly. Okay, I need an engine sound. Tell you what, Bert, here's a fun job for you. I'm going to be listening to some engine sounds. If one of them particularly stands out to you, okay, then you can go, yeah, that one. No, this is supposed to be the engine that's running it. Ignore the fact they say sci-fi. I just wanted something otherworldly. No. No. Too beepy. Too beepy. Yeah, yeah, I can believe that. I've noticed emissive blueprints especially. If you've got an emissive in a blueprint, it's horrible. That one. Okay, so I'm going to set the attenuation range on this to large. And make sure I can actually hear my own project. Right. So what I want to do next is go to my event graph, and I don't want these to happen before, they'll have to happen after. I don't want these to happen after, I want them to happen before. So let's get the sci-fi machine motor cue. We'll come down here, turn off auto activate. Okay, and two things happen with this. There's going to be a play and a fade out. Okay, let's put these two together. Now the actual clip itself is quite long. So, I don't know whether that use a fade out or just stop it after however many. Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll play it, and then at the end, I'll fade it out for a second. There we go. So that plays there. Copy of it as well. There we go. I love using audio in traps because, obviously it sounds much, much better rather than having completely deathly silent traps. Okay, so I've got these two processes here. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a fade out. My fade out is going to fade out over, in this case, 1.5 seconds. And what I could do is I could literally build a system to allow the user to have control over how often it fades out and stuff. But I'm literally just making a bridge here, so kind of redundant. Right. There. No, there. So both have a fade out duration of 1.5. Compile, save. So that means it shouldn't play until I get close to it. Cool. Okay, so it's playing a. That's a good idea. Yeah. Using materials on textures is a good idea too. To be honest, though, I think what I'm going to try and do is just like you're doing, using cards. I think it's a much better method. I've had a word with my artist and I've changed. I was using 3D models for the enemies and monsters, but as for the characters, I'm using 2D. It makes much more sense, really, to well, to do it the way that they're done and have them as 2D. So the artist's got the art at the minute. It's going to look great. I'm certain of it. Okay, so comment text is collision management, font size, doesn't matter. Show bubble. I can't stand its default color. There we go. I'll save. And the next thing I need to do is make diggy noises. Good diggy noises are cool. No, seriously, I need a background engine noise for it as well. Love that. Okay, now this is going to automatically play. I think, yeah, this one. ATT large, this is 28. I'll change the attenuation settings on this to large as well, so we hear it when we get closer to it. The volume multiplier on this is going to be less, 0.6, and I'm going to increase the pitch by about 0.4. Yeah, it'll give us a fake Doppler effect, which is kind of cool. Okay, so let's see how this looks. So I want to make sure that I can traverse these bloody things. You can see there's plenty of collisions and things on it. 1. Hey dude, how you doing? 2, 3, 4. Okay, from here. It's really loud. Really, really loud. I think that was 28, wasn't it? Okay, so there's other machines that are making a lot of noises, so I'm gonna have to get them away from there because they've all got attenuation as well. This is why I build my traps. Like, nice, nice. Yeah, it would have worked really well actually. Now, where the fuck did I put my pot? Oh, far, I'm getting a can of pot. Yep. Swiss milk chocolate with toffee and caramel. Ah. Crunchy. Okay. Now these things, well, I can buy. They can look better. Kind of basic, you know. As I mentioned, I don't want anyone standing on top of them. I've got an idea. Fits in with the overall design as well. Sometimes you've got to be a little sneaky. Like that. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure someone will find a way to stand on the edge of this. I don't want them to. Better. I haven't started using the new Meta sound system yet, actually. I'm considering moving over to it, but I need to get this bit of work that I'm doing out of the way. If I get too caught up on the new sound system, because I've only just got a handle on the old sound system, then as you can imagine, I'm going to be kind of stuck for a while. The first version of this actually releases in 4.5, 5 months. Hey Philippe, how's it going? Um, to explain, it's kind of a chap, kind of not a chap as well. What I'm thinking is I might also put a variable timer actor on this and have it close when you're not standing on it, because I think that could be good fun. How it works at the minute is basically you come over to it, it comes out, you jump on it, etc., etc. Now, I think what could be useful is I'll put in some variables for this so I can adjust the actual amount of time it takes to come out and go in. See here where it says overtime? So I'll drag that out, promote to a variable, promote this one to a variable as well. Okay, then all I need to do is change their names. They'll have the initial values in them. So this is the extend time, and this is the retract time. Okay, so if I compile this now, I'll set it to, this is set at 7. I'm going to put this into a category called o1.group. Okay, and I'll put the retract time into the group as well. Okay, so now when we go in there, you can edit the retract time and the extend time, and then we'll have an auto retract time. So we'll make a variable for auto retract, and we'll also put auto retract timer. Okay, make these both public, and I'll make this one a float. So now if this Boolean is enabled for auto retract, then the entire piece will retract back into the wall even if you're standing on it. Okay, so kind of useful. It means you've only got a set amount of time to use it in. So that is auto retract. So now what I'm going to do is come over here and move component to fade out. Okay, so I'll make an extension on this. So when the components came out, is it going to auto retract? If it is, I'm going to feed this to a branch. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, if it's true, set a delay based on however long our auto retract time is. Okay, so auto retract time is, say, it'll automatically retract after 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 4 seconds. Okay, so if you're stood on it, it's going to go. Hey, no worries, man. Thanks very much. You're totally welcome to hang out and join us and do fun things. Okay, so over here, back at the start, I want to make a event. So this is going to be a custom event trapped trap. I'm going to feed that into here as well. Okay, so it will automatically retract the trap. And I'm going to feed this into retract trap. So what should happen now, pardon me, is we'll get a delay of however many seconds, and then the trap's going to retract. And of course, if you're over a big place, you're going to fall and die. So let's say the second one, auto retract time 4 seconds. That seems reasonable. Play from here. That one's extended. It's gone back out again. Oh, there we go. Stand, so I can stand on it. I see what's happening. Right. Okay, so what we have here is a logic issue, right? So let's open it up. Okay, so when it is doing this retract trap, if I accidentally step over this, then it's going to retract it's going to try and retract the trap and do a double retraction, which is going to cause it to do a stutter. Okay, so when I jump off it, even if it's an auto retract, that's what's going to happen. So what might be more useful is if I make a variable here, so I'll call this a working storage boolean, because that's what it is. Okay, now when I retract this trap, I'll set my WS boolean to positive. Then when I go down here, I'm going to read the value of WS bool, put that into a branch, and if the value of this, which has been set to true, then it won't go through here, okay? But if it's false, it will. So it has to be false when it goes through here, and it automatically starts as false. So it's been set to true, comes through here, etc. And at the end of this, what I'll do is I'll set the bool, so WS bool set there. So leave a note for myself so that I don't really forget what it is. So we set bool to mark trap is ready again. Okay, and this is automatically retract trap. Okay, so compile and save. Now, what this means is that if I come over here and it's already currently retracting slowly, okay, it will need to finish its retraction before I can double retract it again. It seems madly complicated, but that is the nature of logic. Oh, there it goes. Just smashed me through whatever the flip this is. Excellent. Now, I don't think this has a collision volume on it, actually. So, got my support block, open her up. Collision. Does appear to have a collision. Let me check it. Go. Simple. Yeah, it's got a simple collision. Okay. So it just pulled me into it anyway. So hopefully we can find a way to stop it doing that. Okay, so let's go and place these things. Okay, because this is what I've been working towards for a while. So save my showcase. Actually, before I do, I'll take away 3 variants of these. I've got a lot of chaps down here, so I don't need all of them visible. I can go over here. See, these are some of the various chaps now that are on offer. And I've made them all customizable, which is pretty cool fun. Okay, so recent level day 2. Day 1 doesn't have these chaps because you can't get to that side of the island on day 1 for reasons. We stick on 3 screens and see it better. No point like crunching up our screens if we don't have to. I need to be down here. Make sure I'm in the right area. It looks like absolute chaos here because obviously nothing's loaded. But if I load things in now, take a minute. One hour in, we've already got a functional trap, and now we're placing it. Isn't that wonderful? Okay, so here's the what do you call it? The smuggler's run, and this is where I'm going to start the process of building this bridgeway across here. So I get my bridge system trap, plop, and now I can start setting it up the way that I want it to be set up. So you can see there, it's basically facing that way. Got to be really careful how I place this because I don't want it to look terrible. But we also need to make sure that the overlap box is coming onto this bridge so that whoever is basically standing there is going to go, ooh. Okay, there's one more thing I want to do at this bridge because of its shape. I'm going to get a copy of this part here, duplicate it like that. Okay, that's better. Just to give us a back on it, you know. Now, got to be careful not to have it too far apart. So, there we go. And the idea is that we're going to be able to get all the way across by using these kind of extending bridge parts that are massively impractical. I mean, would you like the possibility of doing this? I know I really wouldn't. But let me get them over here. And it looks pretty cool. It looks part, you know. It's supposed to be a bit steampunky, and it is. Yeah. Now I can do this part here. What I like about this is that turn it onto lit. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Okay. This is a very hazardous climb, you see. I want people to be able to fall and hurt themselves. Last one, probably going to be here. If you look, it's going to intersect directly in there, though. So that's not exactly what I want. That's fine. Because we're now nearly far enough across here. Okay, this part here is part of a bigger structure. Decisions, decisions, decisions. And I really want to move this if I don't have to. But I just did anyway. There we go. And the reason that you couldn't use this bridge in the previous day on the wiki is because you spend all day turning the bloody power back on. Of course you'll not be able to use it because this is a powered bridge. They weren't expecting the power to go on. Now, I've got to be careful here because if you look, it's going straight into a rock. And that is not something that would really happen. Okay, so what I can do is start angling this. I know we're like, oh, that wouldn't really happen. Dude, it really wouldn't happen. That's the whole point. We don't want this to look like it wouldn't fit together. You see, I can have this part coming out from under here because then I can put a little foliage on it. But apart from that, no, I can't. Right, that's perfect. See that? And now that gives us this way across here, which will lead us to the final part we need to go to, which is up here onto this cliff. So this small section just here of these bridge units is basically a puzzle that you have to get down to and get across. Now, what we can do on this is, you know, we can maybe change this one here. We're going to make it auto retract, but it's going to auto retract over 7 seconds. This one can maybe come out a lot faster. You know, just for the sheer kind of fun of making it do things slightly differently. Last one, very, very slowly. Right. Now, I don't know how well this will work, but I want to have a quick preview of it. Oh god, yeah, bird. Definitely doing that. And also maybe it's like literally turned off. The point is, I want people to see these things and think themselves, oh, that looks helpful. And then like pull the rug out from underneath them almost. It's like a classic bait and switch. Bait and switch, that's it. This will literally take like a minute because it's got to pre-compile the shaders. I did the Doctor Who podcast that I co-host this morning. That took a couple of hours of recording work, but that should be out. Well, it'll be finished editing tonight because I'll edit it up and get it ready for broadcast. And in that, we also announced that we're going to be covering some other classic British cult sci-fi as well. So looks like it's going to be a fun year for our podcast. It's going really well now. Yeah. Hey, whoever. We follow it. Cool, lovely followers. Right, so there's the water part there. There's going to be some more water over here soon. No, I'll have a look in a minute, but the simply I was doing the podcast probably where it arrived. Nails there for some reason. Uh-oh. Nice. Hang on. Oh, there you are, bird. Yeah, this is completely true, actually, Bert. You're saying like rule lesson number 5: if you want to emulate or create something, you have to understand it first completely. The reason I was always so good at machinery and robots is because I kind of understood what it was I was making and why I was making it and stuff. Um, yeah, I actually fully agree with you. I mean, with the robots, if you look at the robot tutorials that I made for 3ds Max, um, certainly the later ones, if you look at Gypsy Widow or you look at the Knight and things like that, I literally kind of disassembled the entire Warhammer 40k Knight and kind of rebuilt the insides so that it would actually work. And the whole point is that, if you want to get that added sense of value and realism, you have to think to yourself, even if this isn't necessarily a real item, do I understand it? How would it be made? What are the processes involved in making it? I always used to kind of imagine, and I mentioned this a lot of times in my lessons that I taught, I used to think to myself, how would a factory that made this kind of thing be set up? And by kind of understanding that, it gives you a much better understanding, really, of what parts would be used, how they'd be used, and so on. It's a very rewarding and enjoyable way of doing it as well. Okay, so anyone who falls in there is going to die. That's just a matter of fact. But I'm going to put some stuff down there. Put some really weird old textures going on here. Probably because they're wrong. What is this item? Lord 38 instance. Static mesh component. Huge Icelandic. Fair enough. Not entirely convinced that I need it just for that one corner. Go on, fly away. Someday I'll fly away. Why will you not go away? You. There. Makes my job a lot easier not having that there, because then I can just come there round the corner with this. Right, let's put this across here. But answer to your question, Bert, yes, I read your Discord. Okay, now I just need some sort of an end platform for them to be on. Now, I can't really just duplicate this entire bridge simply because that's not how it works, but I can take some of it. Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the whole point. I want it to be kind of visceral and I want it to be a bit frightening. You want to be like, are you sure I need to go this way? Is what I really need the player to be thinking, like, all the fucking time. Do I really need to go this way? I don't want to. Now, what I'm going to do is, because I've already got some props pre-built, need to save this in a second as well. There we go. Because I've already got some prop. Good, you do that. You're welcome to use any of the stuff I've got. Knock yourself out. This is starting to get a bit slow, which is making me wonder if I'm going to get an error soon. Because it's definitely lagging a little bit here. Not the stream, but the actual development process itself. Oh, I see. That's because there's some bloody foliage on this. It's copying the foliage as well. That explains everything. Okay, never mind. Wait for it to rebuild its foliage. I mean, my sincere advice when it comes to anything, whether it be game development or whether it's like, 3ds Max stuff, whatever, is have some understanding of what it is you're making. It makes your job so much easier. It really does. I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't kind of didn't have my understanding of mechanical stuff, which is weird because it built up over so many years, my knowledge of mechanical stuff. I don't like that. It can go away. And yes to all. Yeah, I remember when I was kind of learning it, my initial robots, before I fully understood like the methodology that I needed, and I invented a lot of the methodology myself. Um, they were horrible, and it was really hard to make. But then by the time you get to like the Gypsy Widow, I think one of the things I noticed with that is that the process of building it, even though it was 9 months, which is, a lot, but you got to remember I developed all the hydraulic systems and everything for it. Um, it's much, much more fluid and quick. And I mean, all of that was manual detail in Gypsy Widow. I'll see if I've still got the max file actually. I don't know if you got a chance to see Gypsy Widow or not. I've got a couple of minutes spare. Work and training. My stuff. Dreadnought. Art folders. Teaching in the Netherlands. Is the knight in here? No. 3D prints. CG pirates. This was the start of the entire game. Funnily enough, this set of 5 lessons here, I was making a rowing boat. If you want to see what the actual island looks like, I'll show you this quickly, just for anyone who's curious as to what it looked like back then. This was like the first iteration of the wiki, pretty much, and there's the lighthouse that I was working on, like the old lighthouse, compared to obviously what I'm doing now. Although bear in mind, I mean, that's several years ago. So right. I just need to see if I can find my file. Yeah, look, there's the first finished shot of the island bird. That's what the wiki used to look like. No, can't find it, which is a bit of a pisser. I mean, it's going to be somewhere else. No, not here. I'll find it next time. Anyway, I'm getting distracted from what I was doing. Trying to get this over here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one. Lovely. Just get that lined up there. And then this one. Okay, and by the time that they've been on this one, that should get them on the ground and ready to move. Lovely. Or even, get rid of that. I just need something that's going to come out from here. That's my catwalks. Fortunately, I have some just here. Okay. There. I'll bring it all the way across and I'll make some copies of it. Well, people are going to ask me, why couldn't we just have this bridge all the way across? And the answer is, because you can't. Literally the only reason. Right, this looks like a job for terrain. Save, save, save. Savey, savey, save, save, save. Savey, savey, save. And these assets are pretty well optimized, by the way. I think this is in hide. Yeah, it is. All right. So perspective, lit, unlit. Here we are. Landscape. Be very careful how I use this. So get this down to the right level first. Then I'm going to flatten it. Crease it. Flatten it quite low. Go. That'll do it. I'm going to get my paint tool and get rid of some of this paint or foliage rather. I don't need it and I don't want it. Certainly don't need it there either. Okay, next, manage, sculpt. Do a ramp, 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 ramp from there. To yeah, that's fine. And then on this side, let's have a look without any light on. Yeah, that's actually okay. I like that. So I'll just use a very slight sculpting brush just to raise it. We're thinking about how the land is interacting with our shapes. Then around this part here, I'm going to do some painting. So I'll get my ground 9 and just paint that like so. And then where we had those puddles, I'm going to change it to a ground 7. Let's just start painting this in. There we go. And that way it'll get rid of things that we don't need, whilst heavily promoting things that we do. Yeah, a little bit of the good stuff there. Nice. Now let's take it to 4. Put some rocks in round about here. There we go. Okay, so now we have access to our bridgeway and our bridgeway, which is cool. Now, I have got a few things on here. I want to just add a bit more depth and realism to this, because this is supposed to be industrial areas. So, as I mentioned, I'd already built a lot of the props. Again, what I tend to do is I'll build myself a collection of assets that I really like, or I'll buy assets in a hurry, and then I'll basically use them as kit bashing kits. Build something huge inside of Unreal Engine, because I prefer using it as my preferred modeling tool now. And then when I'm done, I put that there. Yeah, so when I'm done, how big is this? I merge them together as a single unit, and it's perfect. Right, so I'm going to change these to 100s. And this is going to go down here where I'm going to have some lovely water. So no one will really see it anyway after this. I'll bring one more down though, just for the safe side. Now, what I like about this was, yeah, no worries, Bert. I'll send you a link, so don't you worry. What I like about this is that I can basically use the same logistical methods if I need to. So, yeah, put this in here. And this is already inside there. I'm going to hide it with an absolute shed load of foliage. Move it one more. I think that looks a lot better. Next, I need to root these two top pieces. Then I'm going to go up here and put that. And these I'm going to convert them to another piece that I built especially. Is SM Merged Assembly 5. I'll turn off the clip. About this is that I can be as accurate as I like or inaccurate as I like because people don't tend to get up to this bit. Anyone who does, good on them. That's what I say. Also, Bert does so many runs. Like, far too energetic. These young people, man. And the thing about the podcast is, unless you really know Doctor Who well, which I don't, to be fair, it may be a little bit confusing. I'm on there as like the straight man in every sense of the word. It's this bit of work I'm doing, then I've got to go and check in on a friend. Yeah. There we go. Should be firmly enough against the edge. Always extend it by scaling it just a tiny bit. Not to be a lot, just there. Perfect. Okay, let's have a look and see how the new bridge looks. What I'm going to do is I'm going to augment and decorate all these parts. And yeah, look at that. There we go. That's lovely. And then by the time you get over here, mm, mm, sometimes you see something and you think to yourself, hmm, yeah, that seems okay. I'll change the scaling on this merged assembly back to whatever the heck it was. There we go. This one at the top as well. Never can tell when some bloody idiot's going to try and walk off the top and clip through as much stuff as they can. There we go. That's nice. Okay. That leaves this area here to get across. Doesn't mash. This is actually a really long space to get across, isn't it? So, I know what to do. I have got an idea, and it is as hot as my hand. Ah, need the right one for this. So let's have a look at my industrial palette. We've gone to so again, going to have a oh, that one or that one. Really not that one. Got here industrial machines or something. Something like that. Still looking. Hmm, wow, so dumb. Okay. What do you mean? Pipe cab. There it is. And this thing. This thing, what is here? Okay, let's make sure this has got a collision on it. Should have. Yeah, it has. Okay, so that completes the walk of doom. that needs to be done by me really is I've got to fill in this area, which I think is a doing it a little bit later kind of project. But I'm going to put stuff in here and it's going to be interesting. Okay, now I need to unload this region. So I'm going to save it. Unload the region. Lights go, well, the lights will stay on actually because when I come back to this level next time, they'll be unloaded. Okay, so I think that's going to be it. 1 hour 30 minutes. So recap. In this 1 hour 30 minutes, I've chatted to people, which is nice. We also built this entire modular bridge trap system where the bridges will extend or they can just pull away and drop you into infinity. You know, depending on how you set them up. They have got a setup here so we can have the extension time, retract time, automatically retract, and the amount of time it takes to automatically retract, which can be different to the main one. On top of this, we have I've just reused assets. You can use anything that's this shape, or just use basic primitives. That's all I usually do. I just use the architectural primitives, 400 by 400s and stuff. Now, the rest of the game, obviously, I'm going to be working on later on, but this should give you a good grounding on using things like the overlap systems, building some simple logic to control whether or not you can use something, and stuff like that. So until I talk again, you take very good care, my friends. And don't forget to look for the Tranquil Repose podcast.